Hey there, it's Kimberly here with Knit for Brains. Welcome to my channel. Thank you guys so much for subscribing and for sharing it with your friends. We just keep growing and growing and we're having so much fun, and I just keep coming up with more and more great ideas, I think, for this channel. Last week, I told you that I was starting, it was sock week. Now, granted, it was a week, so I'm a little behind, but I had to tell you what's going on. So I tried my hand at making a sock, knitting a sock, all right? And as I said in the video, I have problems with my knit to purl to developing the rib, and that I was kind of getting a little bit wonky. There was a couple, shall we call it, design elements in the ribbing, and I thought, maybe I can live with it. Maybe I can live with it. But then the ultimate disaster happened. And if you're a knitter, you know what I'm talking about, where the needles fall out and suddenly it just starts unraveling. And everybody in the house is in panic mode because I'm yelling, nobody move! Because goodness, right? You step on the yarn and it's just like, well, that started happening. My dog got scared and she got her tail wrapped around it and she took off one way and my husband chased her and he went off the other way, and it was mayhem. Needless to say, the biggest casualty in the room was my half knitted sock, which I wasn't too upset with because I wasn't super happy with it to begin with, because I didn't like the ribbing. And I noticed, a couple of things. I'm like, oh, I see a little stitch that I missed there. So all that being said, I didn't want to gross you out with the carnage that happened that night as far as my sock. So I decided to frog the whole thing out. And I realized I do knit. There are some things I'm very good at knitting. And there are some things that I'm not. And I think the important thing here is knowing what your strengths are and what your weaknesses are. Perhaps knitting socks is not my strength. But I thought, I bet you can crochet a sock. Why not? Right? All you really need to do is to figure out the rib like this, and then you just do the little crochet. So guess what I did? I started all over again. And I am knitting a sock. Actually, I'm crocheting a sock using this ribbing. So today, I thought I'm going to do a tutorial on how to rib in crochet. So here we go. Okay, so here's what my ribbing looks like. As you can see, it looks pretty much like a knit ribbing, almost like your knit one, purl two, and I'm going to show you how to do it. So the first thing you're going to do is get your yarn and get your needle. Now your hook. So the ribbing typically calls for a smaller hook than the actual crochet does. So I've got my small hook here. So this is a fingerling weight yarn, so it's pretty thin. It's a sock yarn because remember, it's got some cotton in it, but it also has a little bit of nylon to give it a little bit of that give, right? Now it calls for, on the label for this yarn, to be somewhere between like a 2.5 to, like I say, a 3 or a 3.5 on the hook, and that's based on your own individual choice. I have here a 3.0 hook, which is pretty much right in the middle. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to chain, just a basic chain, however long you want your cuff to be. Now this cuff that I have here is actually 15 chains. So we're going to start with 15 chains. Just your basic start, nothing simple or nothing fancy. So we're just going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so now I have my 15 chains. What you're going to do at this point is you're going to chain 1 and you're going to turn your work. Now here is where it gets interesting. So basically now I'm making 16, but that's going to be my next row. So I want you to take a look. I'm looking at the anatomy of the stitch. Now if you look really closely, there is what we call your BL, your back loop, and then your FL, your front loop. So your BL is in the very back of the stitch. Your FL is in the front. So you might see an abbreviation that says BLO or FLO, which means back loop only or front loop only. In this pattern, in this stitch, we're going to use the back loop only. So we're going to go into the back of the stitch, single crochet, all the way through. So back loop only, and you can see where my back loop is. It's right here. So I'm going to go into that back loop only all the way across. By doing the back loop only, you are creating this rib. And believe it or not, you're actually going to get that nice stretch that you see in the crochet ribbing, and it acts just like a knit rib. It's pretty cool. So I'm just going to go all the way across here into that back loop only. And it might be a little bit difficult to find it at first. So like I said, the anatomy of your stitch, if you were to take your stitch and lay it out flat like so, and you see the loops here, you've got 1, 2. There's actually a third loop, which is in the back, but we're not going to be dealing with that right now. So it's literally back loop only. Here's some more. All the way across. And you can use the stitch not only for socks, but anytime you need a ribbing that's going to stretch. So on a hat, on socks, you could even do this in leg warmers. You could do a whole entire leg warmer of just this ribbing stitch. So I'm almost at the end here. Get rid of this little bit of a knot. We don't like knots, but this isn't a bad one. This is manageable. Okay, we're almost here at the end. So there's my last stitch. I'm going to go into my last stitch, into the back loop only, BLO, pull through, and I'm going to chain 1. Now, on this next one, so now I'm on the back, it's starting to curl up, but that's okay. I'm turning my work around, and from here, I'm going to crochet into the entire first stitch, so through both loops on the first stitch, to give yourself a nice rib. And from here, you're going to find the top of your stitch again, which is just here along the spine, if you will, of your stitch. And now I'm going to go into the back loop again. So you're going to find that back loop right there, and you're going to pull through, yarn over, and that's your single crochet. And you're going to keep doing this stitch. And once you find them, it's a lot easier. Once you kind of know what you're looking for and you get the hang of it, it's a lot easier. So we're just going to keep going back and forth across the back loop only. And then what you're going to find, I'll do one more row here so you can start to see the pattern evolve. It's a little curly. There we go. And it's tiny, not for old and tired eyes. Okay, almost done. So like I said, you can make the ribbing as big or as small as you want. It just depends on what you're making. You can do a whole entire leg warmer, and I would just say measure it to be as long as you want the leg warmer to be, and then you just do the back and forth ribbing. And what's going to happen is the pattern is going to grow vertically, right? And so it's just going to grow out from there, and then you just figure out how wide you want it to be, and then when you're done, you're just going to stitch it across and close it up. So I've almost finished here. It's really curling up on itself, so it's a little bit difficult, but you should be able to still see those stitches. And as you keep pushing through this, they will start to flatten out, if you will. Oops, I got a little snag there. Hold on. So there it is again. Back loop only, BLO. Back loop only. Single crochet, back loop only, single crochet, back loop only, single crochet, and now I'm done with the 2 rows. Now, see how you can see there's beginning a little spine. If you flip it over, you're going to start to see how we're going to start to get that ribbing. And as you move through, it's going to look like this. So as I said, you're going to go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. This was one long big strip. Now I wanted this to be for a socks. I wanted this to be about 15 and I think it was 5.5 to 6 inches long. And then what you do is I just did a very simple seam stitch here in the back, seamed it closed, and then all you do from that point is you start adding your single crochets around here, and this is going to develop the sock. So I just want to show you today, this is the ribbing part of the sock, and this is how you do it, the back loop only. We'll continue on with this tutorial as we do the single crochet here, and then we'll move down to the heel of the sock and then how we close it up. So again, this is the ribbing of the sock or a hat or leggings, or you could do it as a cowl. You could do pretty much anything you want where you want to have the elasticity and the stretch. So there's single crochet again, and then I'm just gonna back loop through, and you can see the spine of the stitch right here, and I'm gonna go through that back stitch right here, that back loop only. That is the spine of the stitch. This is the anatomy. This is your anatomy lesson for a crochet stitch. Isn't that fun? There you have it. Super easy peasy. This is how we are going to crochet a sock, and it's going to work just like a knitted sock. Actually, I kind of like it. It's got a little bit more of a nubby pattern to it. Gives a little bit more squish, a little bit more fun. And again, you got this nice ribbing because look what it does. See? It stretches out just like a normal sock does, and it's going to go ahead and give it back. So this is going to be my crocheted sock, but I just wanted to show you the ribbing. Next, we're going to show just how to do the single crochet. We're going to go all the way down, and then we're going to move into the heel, and I'll show you how to finish it up. This is Kimberly with Knit for Brains. Really simple, fun, little fast video on creating a rib in crochet. Thanks so much for watching. Like and subscribe and tell your friends about us. Come over and have some fun with us. We'd love to meet you. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you soon.